On October 23, 2007, a faint comet that almost nobody was tracking suddenly exploded in brightness, multiplying nearly 500,000 times in under 42 hours. One night it was invisible without a telescope. The next night, anyone standing outside could see it with their bare eyes, glowing like a new star had switched on between Perseus and Cassiopeia. Nothing had hit it. Nothing had ignited. It had simply, silently, blown itself open. The comet was called 17P/Holmes, discovered back in 1892 by British astronomer Edwin Holmes and considered one of the most boring objects in the solar system for over a century, a small, quiet ball of ice and dust looping around the sun every 7 years without incident. Astronomers had stopped paying it much attention. Then, in 2007, while cruising harmlessly beyond the orbit of Mars, something inside it gave way. Whatever cracked open released a burst of gas and dust so violent it turned an object barely 3 kilometers wide into the brightest thing in that patch of sky. Within days, the expanding cloud of debris around the nucleus had grown wider than Jupiter itself, a planet 143,000 kilometers across, dwarfed by a fog thrown off a comet you could describe on a single index card. We post one of these mind-bending stories every single day, so subscribe now if you don't want to miss tomorrow's. By late November, the cloud kept swelling. Astronomers measured it at over 1.4 million kilometers wide, larger than the Sun, making Holmes' outburst, for a few weeks, the physically biggest object anywhere in the solar system. Hubble later found the reason wasn't a simple crack. Images showed the nucleus had split into two pieces, a main body and a smaller fragment drifting away from it, evidence that a pocket of frozen gas, likely carbon monoxide trapped since the comet formed billions of years ago, had flash vaporized and blown a chunk of the crust into space. Drop a comment below if you've ever seen a comet outburst with your own eyes, and hit that bell so you catch the next one of these the moment it's posted. Here's the part that unsettled scientists most. A blast that violent should have shattered a comet that small into rubble. Holmes didn't shatter. It held together, kept its shape, and slowly faded back into obscurity over the following months, resuming its quiet 7-year loop around the sun as if nothing had happened. That meant whatever triggered the explosion was still sitting somewhere inside its icy body, unaccounted for, and there was no way to know if another pocket like it was still buried in there, waiting. Comet Holmes has swung past the sun several times since then, and every pass, telescopes watch a little closer, because the same comet that stayed invisible for over a century once went off without a single warning sign. Nobody knows if it will happen again, or when. Hit the bell so this lands in your feed the moment we find out.